What's an escalation clause? Hi, I'm Kevin Grolig with Compass. I'm a real estate agent in Bethesda, Maryland, and I serve Montgomery County, Maryland, and the surrounding DMV area. And thank you for visiting my latest video in a series, Real Kevin. I post videos weekly about life and real estate in Montgomery County, Maryland that you're not going to want to miss. If you're new to my channel, click the subscribe button and hit that bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. In today's hyper-competitive real estate market, home buyers are being pushed and prodded more than ever before. More often, home buyers are competing against 5, 10, sometimes as many as 20 offers on a property. Now, I've done other videos about how to write winning offers, but today I'm going to isolate one tactic in particular. The escalation clause is a rider to the contract that can only be triggered in competition. This clause gives elasticity to a buyer's offer to incrementally help them beat and give a higher net proceeds to the seller from competing offers. The idea is to raise the offer just enough to beat out the competition. There are 3 basic factors to an escalation clause that you need to be aware of. Number 1, the escalating factor. This is the incremental amount that you would raise your offer to beat out a competing contract. The question is, how much should this escalating factor be? The escalating factor should be enough to get a seller to move their head from the other contract to yours. Typically, $1,000 in today's price points is not enough to do the trick. My suggestion is the escalating factor should be somewhere between a half to maybe even as much as 2% of the list price. That means in the scenario of a $500,000 home, the escalating factor should be somewhere from a minimum of $2,500 up to as much as $10,000. I learned a long time ago it's better to work with percentages than a fixed amount. This way, the escalating factor will either raise or lower some depending upon the price point of the home. Number 2 factor, the cap. The cap is the maximum sales price that a buyer is willing to pay. The question I get asked all the time is, what price do I need to go up to? Man, I absolutely hate that question because the fact is, I don't know. I always tell my buyers, the cap is a number where you need to find peace. Peace in your head, peace in your heart, and peace in your wallet. What I mean by peace is if you win the property at the cap of your escalation clause, you need to be happy and at peace. And if you don't win because someone else went up higher, you also need to be at peace. Peace is something very personal that will be different from person to person and from house to house. I also like to play a scenario out with the buyer where I will say something like, hey, let's forget about the list price of $500,000 for a moment. What I'll ask is, if the property was listed for $525,000, would you still be interested? If no is the answer, we start moving backwards. If yes is the answer, we start moving forward. If we move forward, the next question is, if the property was listed for $550,000, would you still be interested? You get the picture. So, in this scenario, if $550,000 is the place where you still find peace, then most likely that's going to be your cap. So if $550,000 is the price where you still find peace, that may be the cap on your escalation clause. Now, I may try to nudge you up a little bit with the old Price is Right tactic of maybe going up as high as $551 or $552.
Actual retail price is $900. Brian.
What I find is those nice, round, even numbers is where other buyers end up too. Now, let's play out a scenario for just a moment. Let's say there's that same $500,000 home and 5 contracts have been written on it. And you write an escalation clause in the contract that says your escalating factor will be $5,000 up to a maximum sales price of $550,000. Now, let's just say the highest competing offer that you're up against has written an offer for $535,000. So in this case, with an escalating factor of $5,000, you will beat the $535,000 offer by going up to $540,000. So hopefully this all makes sense, but if it doesn't, you know how to get in touch with me. The third component of the escalation clause is transparency. The escalation clause clearly states that if your offer is forced to escalate, the seller must provide you with the sales documents from the competing offer that forced the escalation. So basically what I'm saying is we need to see the competing offer. I always underline, highlight, and share with the other agent that if we're forced to escalate, you better show us the goods. Lastly, dollars, of course, are always very important to a home seller, but there's other factors involved too. And one other thing that's very important to state is the seller is under no obligation to go with the highest offer. Most often, it's the buyer who has the strongest overall contract who wins. Beyond price, other factors that come into play are going to be strength of financing, contingencies or lack thereof, settlement dates, as well as earnest deposit. Oh yeah, and sometimes a sappy sob letter may do the trick as well. That's it for today. Hopefully you learned a little bit about escalation clauses. I know, a little scary. What do you think? Please comment below. Love to get your thoughts. Thanks once again for checking out the latest video in a series, Real Kevin. And if you like my video, give me a thumbs up or leave a comment below. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. If you have any other questions about buying or selling real estate in Montgomery County, Maryland, or the entire DMV, my contact information will be at the end of the video. That's it for today, and as always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and go in peace. See you next Wednesday.